Going live, you're live. I'm on time. Good day, everyone. Happy birthday, Byron. I just get that off the bat. By the way, Byron, I don't know if Byron's going to be there actually. Are you there, Byron? You just open up. I'll show you something on my calendar. I won't go too close, but there's a mark there, and every year, what's on 19th, Wednesday the 19th, you're the only subscriber that I regularly get reminded it's Byron's birthday coming up. So happy birthday on Wednesday, buddy. And hello to everybody. How are you all? We're just going to have a bit of a catch up and have a chat with you. We're all over the place at the moment with videos. So I haven't got a clue what we're doing. Michelle's here with me doing a little bit of moderation in the background. Do you want to come and say hello quickly, Michelle?
I'll do my hellos now.
Quick hello before everyone comes in.
Hello, everybody. Before everybody gets in, then I can go and disappear again.
All right. Bugger off.
Bye.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that now. All right, so I had this little bottle I wanted to try today, and you can see I've had a little try of it already, just to make it sure it's all right. This is Schleyen. It's a German. It's actually a slow gin. So Schleyen's a little slow breeze, and this means something to me. This bottle. It was brought to me by my daughter probably about 15 years ago, when she went to visit friends in Germany, and I'm going to try it today. I've had a little snifter and had a little taste. It's perfectly okay. Lovely sort of plummy colour. So that's a slow gin. We're going to have a little try of that. And if any of you, I'll just wait until a few people come in and say hello. If anyone's there wants to say hello, I'd love to hear from you. And this, like I say, that's a slow gin or Schleyen. And this today, I thought I'd try this Malbec, art by Evoy. So I don't know much about it. So if any of you want to Google and take a little snapshot, I'll hold it there if you want to do a Google search for me. So this is a Malbec, which is a dark black grape. I think it's one of the grapes you can use in Bordeaux wines. So it's a French grape originally. And I'm going to crack that open and have a little try, because it's been a while since I've talked to you. I thought I might as well celebrate Michelle. Michelle doesn't drink; she's teetotal, so she never joins me on a beer or a wine or anything, because she's teetotal. She's having a glass of water. I've had water most of the day, but I am going to open this pretty little Malbec up and give that a try. I'll let you know what you think. If you want to, did I hold it long enough for you? If you want to have a look. And is it mirrored, or is it okay?
No, it's okay.
It's okay. So if you can tell me anything about this, it's a 2020 Malbec. It's an Aussie Malbec, even though it's a French grape.
So Keith says, big hi from chill Saturday morning in New Forest from Keith and Rachel. Big hi back.
G'day, Keith and Rachel. Up to you both.
And Byron says, Michelle just getting more beautiful than ever before, especially with her sweet accent.
Thank you, Byron. And we both will raise a glass and wish you a happy birthday on the actual day, mate.
And Crafts Karen says, hello, Steve. Diane from Malta.
G'day, Diane. How are you?
Noah Hunt says, good morning from England. How are you and Michelle?
We're good, Noah. Thank you very much for asking. So let me pop the old testicles on and have a quick look, see who's there. So,
and JD says, greetings.
JD, how are you? Yeah, Michelle will tell me anyway, as the chats come in. I've got my little electric table here, so I can go up and down. Mind you, that doesn't. I thought if I went down, the bottles would come in, but they're on the table.
They're on the table.
Yeah, that doesn't work. So I feel like a little drink. I'm not having any snacks today. We're still watching what we're eating, and we're not actually. We've eaten a lot of good stuff today, but we're not eating. It's not a fasting day, so I can have some nice slow gin, and I've got these lovely little French glasses that I used to always have when we had our place in France, and these were our wine glasses. If ever Claude or anyone came around to the house, these were the glasses we used to use, and I still love them. I mean, they are virtually like a pretty little wine glass. If you imagine a stem coming off of there and a little base, but the French prefer them without the stems on, and that would be a typical aperitif or after dinner. Chin chin, cheers everybody. So let's try this 15-year-old, at least 15 years sloe gin from Germany when my daughter went there on a trip, and she brought that back for me. Now, she was quite young at the time.
Yeah, it was an exchange, a school exchange.
It was a school exchange. So what on earth they were letting students bring bottles of gin back from Germany? I had no idea. There were different times in a different country where we had a little bit less regulation. So what was that there? JD says, chin chin. Chin chin, JD.
Chris Garden says, hello, Stephen Michelle.
G'day, Chris. How are you, mate? We are going to have a catch up, a little talk, and tell you about our plans if we've got any. This smells delicious. It smells like dark sort of Ribena, sweet Ribena. It's got sort of, sloe berries, Ribena, but a very sort of syrupy, dark fruit flavour. So let's have a little try of this. Oh, yummy. Cheers, Byron. Happy birthday, mate. Raises toast to Byron, whose birthday is on this coming Wednesday. And for as many years as I can remember, since I've been on YouTube, we've been wishing Byron a happy birthday. I think we've even baked him a cake at one time. So,
and we did a live stream in McDonald's in Japan on Byron's birthday.
We did. We always remember. I can't remember all your birthdays, but Byron's very special. Yes. So we always do remember. And if we don't see Byron on the day, or we're not live streaming on the day, we always raise a glass and say, Merry birthday to you.
Yes, very good.
And there's a few other friends that I say friends. These are YouTube friends that we've known for years, and they're sort of special people to us, and we always remember their birthdays. But Byron, I can tell you, mate, you're the only one that pops up on my diary every single year. So
Byron says, I wish I had Swedish meatballs with Brazilian chocolate truffles.
You could get down to IKEA and have some Swedish meatballs.
I don't know whether they do
I tell you what, Byron, wouldn't that go nice with a bit of?
Well, that's what I thought Keith was talking about. What's the better Italian pastry? I thought to go with your sloe gin, but he's not saying.
Do you know what? If I had a pastry to go with this now, it would be a cannoli.
That's what he said. So there was answered your question.
Oh, Keith. Did he? So a beautiful cannoli, Keith, from and it would have to be,
from Sicily.
It would have to be in Sicily. I can't, because we've had them in Sicily, and we've sort of there's sometimes they put a little bit of lemon rind in there. Of sometimes they do the chocolate ones. I'm not
not
a big fan.
The lime.
Yeah.
The lime ones.
So a cannoli or cannolo.
JD says, you lost a great deal of weight, my friend. Air fry foods, no oil.
Yeah, a fair bit of oil. I've had a fair bit of oil. No, we have lost a fair bit of weight, and we're not beating ourselves up on food. We don't eat. We're just fasting. Basically, what we're doing is we're trying to put back what we've done wrong over the last 3 years. You all know we've had a sort of tough 3 years. Everybody's had tough 3 years. So we're sort of just trying to do a little bit correction. And we're sticking with it. We've got a long way to go. I've still got a long way to go, carrying too many pounds. But yeah, probably lost about 10 kilos or so, I would say. Yeah. So pretty happy with that. I'm not logging it like I hoped. I was going to sort of do it's just not me. It's just not me to do every day and say, and also, that I got the air fryer, and we've been using the air fryer extensively. Now, I think it was Diane that came in. Was it Diane on one of the videos? Diane is one of the commenters on a video today, and she said she's buying the air fryer today. So she was just saying to me that she's sort of impressed and was investing in an air fryer. So good luck with that, Diane. Anyone else? I think they're a great little tool. We've used them for probably almost every day since we've got it in one way. Well, no, not every day, because we're not eating every other day.
Yeah, we use it for most things.
Yeah. So this sloe gin.
JD said, I only met you on the YouTube perhaps 6 months ago when you were in Malaysia on a food review.
Well, JD, we'd love to hear from you all what we should do, because we're getting to the stage. We've been back visiting family. We've had a wonderful time here in Australia, and we're just kind of getting itchy feet. Now we've got to get going. You know what we're like. We Michelle and I, we'd rather be on the road doing something. So we have got plans in the next few weeks to be back on the road doing some exciting things. But what I've also been doing while I'm here is I've been editing some really cool videos that I'd allowed myself to forget about, because because of COVID and lockdowns and all the nonsense that's been going on, I've kind of, they weren't relevant. There was a whole bunch of videos that we did in India when we were there, really good, fun videos that you guys have not seen. So we've been editing those together. So what you're going to see videos over the next, and I'm not going to explain to everybody. Sorry, you people here today, you're getting inside information here. But anyone who's watching my channel is going to say, "What's he doing there? What's he doing? How come he's there?" You'll know. All right. I'm not going to answer when you suddenly see I'm in South India somewhere, which we might be. I mean, we might actually be in South India, but these videos are not from now. Some of them are even before all the lockdown stuff and the nonsense that's been going on. So some of them predate that, and some of them have been more recently. But I found some really great content, and we've been really snowed under trying to get those ready for you, so that when we get traveling, you've got some kind of eclectic mixture of content going up, and also some more stuff like this, maybe some live streams. But it's going to be interesting. But we have no fixed plans, except for we'd love your ideas. We're probably going to start off hitting Southeast Asia again because it's closest to Australia. We're not ready for another big tour of Australia yet. We would love to, but it's it's an expensive place to be touring around Australia at the moment. As a lot of you know, it's pretty costly, so it's probably not right for us at the moment. And there's a number of reasons why we feel that we want to get away, because the winter's starting to come here and the weather's getting cooler, and Michelle and I like the warmer weather. So yeah, so we start off in Southeast Asia, but we have no plans. We've got one destination to get the ball rolling, and then, excuse me, it's the Malbec.
While you're having a little...
No, it's the slow gin.
It's slow gin. See who it is. Chris says, is that your Cooper hat on the wall?
That is the Akuba Traveller, Chris. Yeah, that's the Akuba Traveller that Michelle and I, we've both got Akubas. These ones are sort of soft ones that can collapse down. That's mine. Michelle's is that beautiful burnt orange, which I kind of envy. If it fitted my head, I'd wrestle it off her. So anyone found out about the Malbec at all? Anyone can tell me anything, because I know nothing about it. This bottle I had when I was here last time in Australia a couple of years ago, and I forgot to drink it. So I'm going to crack that open now. There we go. Aussie cork. And just let it breathe.
Your aerator.
I could use the aerator. It's on my desk.
I think it's there, isn't it?
Well, I'll try it without first. So we're going to have this Malbec. I've got a stemless
a bigger glass.
Burgundy glass. I think this is a Burgundy glass. But
JD says, wherever you go with your wife, we know much about that country and their food, so we always like surprises.
Yes.
And Chris says, Southeast Asia videos are always great to watch.
Good. And we're probably going to make a point of going to places we haven't been before, and maybe a few places we have, but not for a long time. So there's some kind of cool ideas floating about in our head, but it's going to be a little bit like a dice.
Nothing set in stone, is it?
That's why I used that roll the dice photograph in the thumbnail just now, because really, if one of you say, you should go to Taiwan, somewhere like that, if one of you has some good, or come and see us in such and such, maybe we can do something like that. Maybe we can, we're not the best at hooking up with people when we travel, because we sort of end up like a little bit out of sync. That happens when what you're putting up to what you're actually seeing. So we're not the best at hooking up with people, but we'll see.
Byron says,
I'm checking myself, because I'm sort of saying, if you want us to come, and I'm thinking, oh God, if you ask us to come, we're
not there. We've moved on. Byron says he would substitute the alcohol with sparkling grape juice. Feed with us.
Beautiful, Byron. Well, you know me, I'm not a big alcohol drinker myself, so this is technically.
So what's that like?
It's very nice. It's sweet. It's almost like black currants. Yeah. So it's almost it almost tastes like. Yeah, I know you wouldn't like it. Michelle doesn't like anything alcohol. She reckons everything tastes like alcohol.
Let me smell it.
Okay, come on. You want to have a little try?
I'll smell it first. I'll smell it. No.
She won't do it. it's almost like black currants. Now I've actually got some black currants over there.
So JD says, I guess if you go to Southeast Asia countries where they speak less English, you'd want to stay there for 3 days only. China, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong are such places, but their food are delicious though.
Yeah, and you know, you've just mentioned.
We don't spend 3 days because
we'll never spend 3 days in a place. We'll always spend at least a couple of weeks, maybe longer. If we can, we always we're slow travelers, like slow gin, like slow travelers. So we're never going to sort of bounce. But
yes, China, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong.
Some of my favorite places in the world: China, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, Vietnam. Obviously the obvious ones, Thailand, Philippines. We haven't been to the Philippines for a long time.
No,
I haven't been for a long time to the Philippines, and I keep saying we will go there. So, but there's no plans at the moment. We will just get one ticket and we will go somewhere, and then we will.
And we'll actually get 2
tickets. We won't have a hotel. Are you coming as well?
Sorry, I am. Yeah.
Oh, she's coming here. So we get 2 tickets, and I say one ticket. I mean
one place, one destination.
You're so insecure.
You wouldn't go without me.
So we'll head off to one place. We won't have a hotel, but we won't have anything more than a sort of vague idea of what we're going to do there, and we're going to try and be a little more disciplined on the content that we create. So we'll see how that goes. A lot of people have said to me, we don't really care what you produce as long as you produce something, which is always nice. But we could do with actually getting the channel back up in the higher views, I think. And that's not because I want the higher views, although I do. Mind you, it's a bit more gratifying if you get a bigger viewership. And as I say that, people are dropping off, hanging up on me. So if you're watching this later on, please apologise for my bad language and my disparaging comments.
Noah says, I love Japan, never been, and it's definitely on top of my travel list.
Japan is beautiful, and it's one of my favourite countries in the world, along with quite a few other countries that always turn out to be my favourites. But one of the reasons I love Japan, and South Korea for that matter, is the cultural shock that you get as a Westerner going to those countries, which I don't get in now. I don't get that in Thailand or Vietnam or any of these other sort of Southeast Asian countries because I'm very familiar with them. But culturally, Japan is so different to anything any of us have experienced, and in a very beautiful way. It's a little insight into the past almost, and I mean that in the most polite way to my Japanese friends. Arigatou gozaimasu.
JD says, plan your holiday for sure. I think that's because we don't plan. We're very spontaneous, aren't we?
JD, we don't plan holidays because it's not a holiday for us. It's a way of life. We've been traveling now for 8 years. With the occasional stop as we've just had a rest here in Australia, but pretty much 8 years continually now. And you can't plan. You can plan. It's like when you're on a small boat on the edge of a big lake. You can plan how to get it to the edge of the lake, and you can plan on getting your leg and sort of kicking it off and then jumping on. Hopefully you get on. But the rest of that journey is very much determined by currents and happenstance and just how you feel at the time. So really that's about as much as we plan. We're not people to jump on that boat and say we've got to get to the other side of the lake as quickly as possible and straight through the center. It's just not the way we roll. And we've been traveling for 8 years now, and I don't think when we set off that we actually planned to go anywhere. And we did the John O'Groats to Land's End with about 2 weeks' notice. Actually, no, it was one day's notice.
Yeah, 1 day's notice.
2 weeks.
Everybody we've read up about has been planning for months and months and months, and we just
everyone we met on the John O'Groats to Land's End, 2,000 kilometre walk. Took us 3 months to do, but everyone we met on there has said they've been planning it for years. Or we meet people our age. I've been planning this since I was 15, and you sort of think, oh yeah, we've been planning it since 2 weeks ago.
They say, what route are you taking?
We don't know. We don't know. So what route are you doing? Are you going past Glen Curry? And I'm thinking, I don't know. Is that in Scotland or where is that? We don't know. We're just heading south, and the sun's there and the moon's there, and hopefully we'll get. Now, it wasn't so random as that. We had a rough idea, but we didn't.
Well, you vaguely planned most nights where we were going the next day.
Vaguely, but we didn't have any. We talked with Rick, and we were sat with Rick and talked. Well, even then we were loosely planning it. So we know we had to get down the country, but we didn't have. I only bought the book. There's a book about the route of John O'Groats to Land's End that's written by some guy, and it's complete rubbish. So I don't recommend it at all. It's so badly written. But there's a famous book. We only bought the digital version of that book halfway through the walk.
And then you decided.
And I just discarded it. It was the guy clearly hadn't got a clue what
and
he
then
was
we
talking
discovered
about.
canals, didn't we?
Yes.
We like canals.
I'm not setting her off on John O'Groats talk. She'll go on. The Malbec is airing. Nobody told me anything about the Malbec?
They're talking about Japan. JD says cultural shock is definitely a great fear and discomforting. And Noah says, I'm even sure that some people from other places in Southeast Asia get a culture shock when they visit Japan.
I'm not drinking it unless somebody tells me something about it.
Keith said they've done a short break on the plane, taking small hand luggage only. We've done that a few times. Yes, we have, haven't we? Just taken hand luggage and.
Like to Hanoi, and when we went to Hanoi, we just took hand luggage and went for a short break.
I mean, we could travel just with that.
Yeah, we travel really light. I mean, we have 2-wheel-on cabin bags,
which weigh about 12 kilos.
Which weigh about 12 kilos, but they've got like all our, the stuff for the whole year, and we have 2 backpacks which have to weigh about 7 kilos. So we have about, all in all, we have about 20 kilos worth of stuff for the whole journey, and that's it. And that includes cameras and laptops and lenses and sound gear and drones if we have them. So really, if we took YouTube out of the equation, Michelle and I would be literally traveling with just a little backpack.
We would.
Because we only have a handful of clothes that we like to wear, and they're wash, quick, dry. I've got them on now. I've got a pair of trousers on now. These trousers have been all the way from Scotland, the north of Scotland, all the way down to the south of England, the same pair of trousers. And they've also been all around Mexico. They've all been around Turkey. They've been around, and you can wash these. You can zip off the legs so they turn into shorts. Like that, turn into a pair of shorts, and you wash them and they dry within. You can put them on and let them dry on you almost. So I've got 2 pairs of those. Pair of long john sort of
base layer,
merino wool long johns. I guess that's base layer. I mean, they call them now base layer. We call them long johns. But there, if you get to a really cold country, you can put those on, then put these over the top, and that's like wearing a nice thick warm pair of clothing and a similar garb to the top. So actually the long johns, because we rarely go anywhere cold, they don't come out of the bag.
I think actually the last time we travelled, that last stint, which was 9 months, they never came out once. No,
they didn't come out once. They were there, but they never came out. The last time I can remember, just somebody said it a moment ago, was in South Korea, because it was so cold in South Korea. And we didn't expect it, and all we had was I had a T-shirt like this on. I had a merino base layer under this and my long johns, and these very lightweight trousers.
And our Keen sandals.
And our Keen Keen sandals, which I've just got a new pair of Keen sandals. No sponsor, unfortunately. Not that it matters. What would it do? I mean, if Keen gave us a pair of sandals, it's not going to make our lives that much different. So I don't want to be sponsored by Keen, to be honest. But I've just bought a new pair because every 18 months or so to 2 years we both buy new sandals, and they're the only shoes we take, apart from maybe a pair of flip-flops to wear in a shower or around a thing. So that's it. I mean, I really should do a review of our bags, because they've done us so well. The Osprey bags have been phenomenally good for us, and I might talk to you about those specific bags, because they've been really good.
Very good.
And they'll be going again on the next trip.
So she's asking, is Malbec a Southern Hemisphere only grape variety?
No, Malbec is a French grape. It's one of the grapes that are used quite often. It's a black, sweet grape that's used in, I'm only telling you what I know from up here, Keith, but it's a sweet grape that's used in Bordeaux wines. So I think it's one of the there's a small number of grape varieties that you'll find in Bordeaux because they're generally always a blend. I think it's Malbecs, cabbage grapes, what are they? Merlots. So there's a handful of particular grapes that are used. So no, very much. But this is a Margaret River. Margaret River is over on Perth side, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
So this is a Margaret River Malbec. It's a nice smelling wine, and I'm going to give it a little try.
Well, Chris Garton is asking, is there anywhere you wouldn't go back to? And Jill27 says, great question, Chris.
No, there's nowhere I wouldn't go back to, and I'll caveat that, Chris, in a moment, because there are places that I really didn't like, and actually one that always springs to mind, or two that spring to mind actually, are, I think Michelle would know them almost without me saying, are Sapa in North Vietnam, which was a despicable place, because it was just a horrible tourist trap and noisy and full of really bad tourists and just horrible child abuse and what have you. And Puerto Escondido in Mexico, which was highly rated for us, and we just were so disappointed with it. But
that hasn't put us off those countries, has it?
It hasn't put me off those places, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would love to go back and see both places with a fresh head. I wouldn't want to particularly do the trip because the trip up to Sapa is a bit of a drive. If I could,
Chris says, I remember your video from Sapa.
Crapper Sapa, as I called it, horrible place.
And even the trip up there wasn't. The trip back.
The trip back was a nightmare, but the bus was horrendous. But I'd do it again because I'd want to sort of see if it was as bad as I remember, and I would kind of hope that they might redeem themselves in some ways. So they're nowhere really that I wouldn't go back to. I am getting a bit tired of going to similar places. So much as I love Thailand, I'm a little bit over going to same old places. We need to get somewhere a little bit different. And if any of you got any suggestions, we're making notes of what you're saying today. And there used to be a guy who travelled. He used to roll the dice. I can't remember his name. It was something like Dice Man or something. I don't know. He used to throw a dice, and the viewers or the dice would choose where he went. I almost feel like doing that because we're almost that unorganized. Not unorganized. No, we're superly well organized. You couldn't travel like we do without being organized, but we're not rigid. We're not regime. We don't have a regime. The one thing we do not do is force ourselves into situations where we have to get to a certain place at a certain date or time. And the other thing we don't do is force ourselves to get up early because we like a lie in, and we're not in it to make life difficult.
So JD says Malaysia is always top of the list for everybody.
Malaysia isn't top of the list for me. It's one of my favourite countries, but it's certainly not top of the list.
And Chris says, what about Sri Lanka again? People always seem to like those videos, especially the locals that always commented on the videos you made then.
Chris, we lived in Sri Lanka, so we kind of have a close affiliation, but they're all places we've been to. I always say when I was quite young, I went back to a place that I spent some of my childhood with, and it was immensely disappointing because it didn't seem as wonderful as I'd remembered it. And I think at a very young age that made me feel like don't go back to places that you've been to. Now that's not entirely true because we've been back to certain places over the years and we found them to be quite charming. But, there's a lot of places to go in the world, so why go back? Sri Lanka, maybe I'd go there again because I'd like to see how things have developed since the since the problems. I'd like to see that all our good friends in Malaysia, Sri Lanka, are still doing well. Malaysia is just it's an easy place. It's a lovely place to be, but it doesn't set my heart alight with excitement because we're familiar with it. I don't know if I can explain that to you. It's hard to, you know, what the thing with travellers from Thomas Cook to there's a few. I was going with John Thomas and things like that. I thought it was Thomas Cook. Some other Thomases. Yeah, you know, from heaven forbid, give me some names of some travellers that have done a lot of travelling. But Thomas Cook is the only guy I can remember that sort of always pushed the boundaries of going to different places and writing about them. You know, you could do Wainwright and people like that, but they really probably only went to a handful of places in Europe. But if you're a real traveller, the thing that sort of sets your mind and heart alight is experiencing the unexperienced. And I think that's why I love Japan so much. Yeah. The problem is we've been to Japan now, but I think Japan is a taste that I haven't fully appreciated. So I think there's still a lot we could get out of Japan, but I wish there was another place called, I don't know, Kettle Dump, you know, and it was like, oh, Kettle Dump, wow, amazing cultural difference. There isn't. No such place. There might be up in the north of England, but you never know. So let's get this Malbec. Let's have a little look. So I've got myself a stemless goblet here. I've got a feeling this is going to be lovely. Look at that. That's almost black, isn't it?
Your aerator has it aerated enough. You should try it.
No, Michelle, I told you already. She didn't listen. Why would I not try it with it? How will I know if it's improved if I don't try it without the aerator first? How will I get a second glass? Wow. Even from here, I can smell blackberries. Oh, wow. That is dark, like almost dark red, black plums. You know, like what are the dark plums called?
Yeah. Damsons?
Yeah, like sort of damson plums and Black Forest Gatto, sort of like
cherry.
Dark. Yeah, but not cherries, more like the chocolate that you get with cherries. Okay. And Black Forest, so you got that lot of bitterness of the chocolate, and you've got that sort of dark, rich cerise Black Forest Gatto sort of smell coming out of there, and dark plums. Malbec. I can't remember having a lot of Malbec, so I'm not even familiar what I'm gonna get out of this. There's a little bit of tanning in there, and I'm getting a sort of almost a.
Shall I read what it says on the bottle?
I don't think it says anything on the bottle.
Is it not?
Oh, you can have a read, but don't read it to me. I don't like being influenced. I don't read bottles. I don't want to be influenced, but. I'm trying to see if I get any oaky sort of smells, but there's nothing oaky. It's more like a pine sort of taste, a smell. Okay, so, I'm not a wine connoisseur. I'm just telling you as it is. I've got a fairly decent.
Oh, well, you're not bad with things. Like what it says.
No, I don't want to know what it says. I've got to try it. I've got to try it first. And the only thing I read was what year it was and what grape it was. So let's go. I was thinking of doing that, but then I'd be tempted to spit it out. Ooh, that's nice.
What waste?
That's nice. There is some, sucking it across the tongue and the thing. With anything, even if you're trying olive oils or you're doing balsamic vinegars, you really should try it because it really enhances the flavours of almost anything that's in your mouth. That's funny because all the smells I got, I'm getting in the taste as well. It's but really woody now. I'm getting quite a sort of like a tanning, real sort of almost like leather, like a old leather belt. If you've ever licked the back of an old leather belt,
Shall I tell you what it says now? Shall I tell you what it says?
If it makes you happy, I'll tell you. Just hang on. You're getting like a leather belt and dark cerise, cherries, and chocolate, like a Black Forest. And go on then, Michelle, come and tell everybody what it says. You can read it out.
I'll come and read it out. It says, it's very tiny writing, so I'm reading it. It says, characters of note.
I didn't get carrots.
Carrots, no.
I didn't get
mulberry.
Mulberry, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
mulberries are like cherries, yeah.
Leather.
Leather.
That's why I was laughing.
Okay, that's weird.
Violets and spice with fine French oak.
Well, I definitely get leather. You see,
leather. What are you doing drinking leather?
It's funny because Michelle sat there. I knew she was smiling like I have. Honest to God, I haven't one, but I get that taste, so I can understand where they're getting those flavors from. It's like the back of a leather belt. If you've and I'm always doing it. Aren't you licking the back of leather belts?
Oh, for sure.
Always. I always take a belt off just before you sort of taking your trousers. That's the flavour you're getting, but you're getting really dark cherries with that sort of bitterness of chocolate that you get with the Black Forest Gatto, and I mean a proper Black Forest Gatto, not a supermarket Black Forest Gatto. A Schwarzwald Gatto.
So Jill 27 says, any interest in going to the US, Canada?
Yeah.
It's on the list.
No, it's you don't say it, Jill, because was it Jill? Did you say? Because we would love to. Yeah. We've always dreamt of doing a year between sort of Canada, the US, and Mexico, so we could sort of like jump in and out of the countries and things. And we talked about that just a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? We really sort of thought, but I think what we're going to do, because I'd love to spend. I love the USA, and I've never been to Canada, and I suspect we'd love it just as much. I just find I find the people in America very much in tune with the way I feel, and just lovely people. And I think Canadians they're probably going to be very similar. Mexico as well, because it's that sort of, for us, it's an easy sort of like, but culturally different place to go to. So you can get a little bit of that in places like Albuquerque and El Paso, and that you can get a little Mexicano. But actually, no, it's so different. Unless you go to Merida and the Playa de Carmen, and then it's almost, you might as well be in Albuquerque. But if you go to real Mexico, like Mexico City, Oaxaca, not Puerto Escondido, but even San Miguel de Allende or Cristobal, San Cristobal, some beautiful places that we'd like to go to back in Mexico, South America. There's so many places. So,
Australia is so far away, isn't it? So we've got to sort of
thank you.
Way.
Yeah, it's hard to fly from here, from Australia to anywhere in South America. There isn't even a plane that can do it. I don't think there's a physical plane that could carry enough fuel. I think they did it once, but they had to take about 8 passengers because they had to like fill all the seats up with fuel and things. It's really hard to do that sort of distance in any commercial airlines that are available at the time. So it's a long way, and also it gets really super expensive. So even to fly from here to the US is quite expensive. We'd have the easiest way to go via Fiji and Hawaii, which we've done before. So it's possible, but not this year, I don't think.
Chris says, still waiting for you guys.
Hit the thumb up, everybody. I've only 4 thumbs up. Michelle loves the thumbs up. Of course, I don't like them at all, so hit the thumbs down if you like, but hit those thumbs up for Michelle, just so that we can tell YouTube what a wonderful audience we've got.
Chris says, still waiting for you guys to come to Ireland, but it's too far out of your way. You need to be flying from the US.
We've so wanted to do Ireland for so long as well. That's so frustrating, Michelle. This is why I say, I love Malaysia. We had a great time there. We love Thailand. We always have a good time there. And we've got a few places we should go to Southeast Asia. But why go back to places when there are so many places that we still want to go to? I'm not going to be one of those YouTube channels that say we're going to do every country in the world in the next, although we've probably done close to half of them. But I do appreciate that going to different parts of the world is something that we will do. I mean, it's not my beautiful hair. Ireland, South America, Philippines we haven't been to for a long time. We used to live in Hong Kong, haven't been to Hong Kong for a long time, miss Hong Kong. But, there are other sort of logistics you've got to think about when you talk, parts of Africa now I've started to get. So I always said I wasn't too keen, but I actually started to get interest in parts of Africa. But I've always...
Parts of Europe.
Different parts of Europe. Last time we were in the part of Europe we wanted to be, there were a few problems in the world, so we didn't get to do all we wanted to. Like, we didn't get to see Turkey as well as we'd like to see Turkey because of, circumstances a lot of you will know about. And, and consequently, we didn't go to Georgia or Bavaria or Bulgaria, or not Bavaria, that's Germany. I haven't been to the Scandinavian countries.
Well, we were going to go to Greece, but we couldn't
get into Greece. So there's lots to do. But no, Jill, thank you for reminding me. Yes, we do want to definitely go to the US. And the problem is with the US, I really would like to go there for a year, 18 months, and we've been to more places in America than most of my American friends. They always say to me, "Oh, you've been to more places than we have," because we've driven all the way from the bottom of the Florida Keys all the way up to New York, and we've zigzagged all the way down the Grey Lines and crossed over the whole country to the West Coast, and done the whole West Coast down to San Diego and down to El Paso. So we've kind of done the vast majority of the country, but America's huge. So we've been in a lot of places people haven't been to, but we still haven't been to even a tiny fraction. And I know a lot of people, I meet a lot of people when I travel who say, "Oh, I don't want to go to America. I don't like America." This is a common, by the way, my dear American friends, this is quite often said to us. And please hear me out now, because I try to turn those people, because I say to them, "What are you talking about?" When people say, "I don't want to go to America, blah, blah, blah," and they give the reasons, I won't give the reasons. You probably all know the same reasons. It always is. I say, "You've got to be kidding me." I said, you'll never find a more beautiful country full of such wonderful people anywhere in the world. And if you're going to base it off a half a dozen things you've read in the news, then you need your head testing, because it's historically just a fantastic country, and very pretty. And I've got a feeling Canada's going to feel much the same to me as well. I've always fancied Canada, and there's a few places in South America I would like to go as well.
So Chris says America is literally like 50 different countries in one. If you don't like one part, go to another.
Exactly. That's exactly the truth. Who said that, Chris?
Chris.
Exactly the point, Chris. If there's something you think you don't like, or I don't like brash New Yorkers who are not brash, and neither the stereotypical New Yorkers that you might think you've seen on ridiculous shows that are on the TV. But there's this huge amount of difference if you're in Savannah or in Alabama or down in the Southern Keys. Or even for that matter, from Philadelphia to New York, there's a fair difference in the style of the people and the history. And then you've got all the sort of you've got Michigan and Utah and all these other beautiful places that feel so different. Sorry, I sound like I'm selling America.
Well, Chris says, for example, I found California to be a bit over the top, but I love Texas.
Texas is beautiful. California is
parts of it.
I'm going to stick my head on the block and say I wasn't a massive fan of Los Angeles. We didn't feel it, but that again, it wouldn't stop me from going back there. And there were parts of Los Angeles which were really kind of cool and quirky. But if you go all the way up the coast through the giant redwoods on the coastal road there, and see the sea lions on the beaches and the beautiful mountain ranges behind as you drive up. It's great. Seattle.
So Noah says, I lived in New Jersey for 2 years and met some of the nicest people I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
And Jill says, I'm in New England, like England, but
man, Jill, New England is one of the places I've secretly got a love of. That I think Nature's Ferry. I think Brenda lives up in New England. Yeah, I think she does. Brenda's a YouTuber friend of ours that we haven't spoken to for a long time, and not because for any other reasons, because we love her to death, but we just haven't had the opportunity, and there's so many things to do. But New England is one of those places that in my mind is one of the most beautiful parts of America. And also when I think about when we've driven down the Blue Ridge Causeway in the fall in Virginia and that, I got a feeling that New England has at least that to offer. Along with, and I think is Rhode Island up that way as well, and the founding states of America, the 13 founding states, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina. I know the 13 founding states, the original facts. You see, we probably know more about America than a lot of people, but.
So George says, if you guys have spared $20,000, how about Antarctica?
I wouldn't want to spend that sort of, travel is great, but it shouldn't take a hole out of your pocket like that. I mean, $20,000, that's like a year's traveling. That's not worth it to go and look at a bunch of ice. No, I don't get that buzz out of it. I wouldn't get the buzz out of going to Antarctica. If somebody wants to invite us there and it's free, I'd do it. But I'd have to get another pair of long johns. Maybe 2 more t-shirts. No, it doesn't appeal to me. But then a lot of places did.
But we never say never.
Never say never. But it's not like anyone's down in Antarctica saying, come and see us down here. We've got a lovely cafe. There's no one down there.
No.
Yeah. I think I like this beautiful Schlehen. Das ist gut, sehr fantastisch. What's the reference? Das ist gut, sehr fantastisch. Come on. Some Brit will probably know.
But it's like you're singing, JD says it never rains in California, but it pours, says Al.
Never rains in California.
1973 hit.
Yeah, a great song.
Dominda says hello.
Oh, that is like a little bit of Malbec, and then this is like maple syrup. Wow, that's sweet after the Malbec. That Malbec I'm going to actually, that's going to be better tomorrow.
You had a wine
I'm going to aerate it.
The other week, didn't you, that was much better?
There was a Merlot that I had that was rough as houses. I mean, rough. I couldn't drink it. It was rough like melting a school rubber and drinking it through a sock. It was horrible. And that the next day was smooth and like just like a little stewed cabbage instead of a stewed rubber. Rubber, sorry guys, rubber in England is an eraser. Oh shit, I forgot. A rubber in British culture is the thing on the end of a pencil that you make a mistake and you take off the pencil.
Eraser.
Yeah. Sorry. That sort of rubber, not your American sort of rubber through a sock. Oh no. That's
yeah, we know JD.
Yeah, I think cultural difference there. Yeah.
Just a bit there.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So I am gonna try a little bit of this through the old Wine Aerator. This thing is take that off. This thing is like a little vortex, and you can put the wine through it. It adds oxygen. It oxygenates the wine, which helps break down the sulfates and sulfites in the sulfites in the wine, not sulfates, sulfites in the wine, and maybe make it taste like tomorrow's wine. In my experience, it almost does it, but it doesn't quite do it. But we'll give it a try in 5 minutes. If any of you are still hanging around for that, you'll be so excited. You'll be on the edge of your seats with excitement. You'll be so. Can you imagine, Michelle, the excitement?
The excitement.
Yeah. Can you imagine the excitement?
Waiting for you to drink some more dilemma.
So, no, this is delicious. 15-year-old. I wonder if it's improved over the years.
I don't know.
My daughter's old enough to drink that now. She could try a little bit.
She could. So JD says, I like that. Where did you get that from? Is it a purifier?
We shall make an Amazon affiliate link and send it to JD. If you buy one, we might make a penny. If I could put a link up, who said that? JD? If I put a link up, JD, and you buy it, I might make 1 penny. which would be
Maybe.
nice. Probably not, because
Probably
it probably
not.
won't be on there. So yeah. So yeah, you can buy them. They're fairly commonplace, and it's quite a nice thing if you've got a wine that's a little bit fresh and you just want to sort of it's going to taste better the next day. You can kind of force it through an aerator like that. What else have we got to talk about? We will be heading off. Tomorrow I'm going to put a video up that will be completely out of context. We will not be here in Australia. We will be somewhere where you might not expect us to be. And it's a series that I filmed that I didn't put up because something went wrong in the world. And I just felt like it was just inappropriate. But I've been looking at it and I think it's a beautiful video. I think it's really good. And it's a little series. So that's going to start tomorrow and next weekend. We'll have some more of that going up. So you people that are watching today will know instinctively that I'm not actually there. So I don't want any of you saying, how can you be there? Why are you wearing I'm not going to hear any of that nonsense. Just assume the world is still normal and we're all having a great time. And that's it. And who's to say we won't be there anyway? Because there's a possibility.
Maybe.
Any questions to keep me busy, Michelle? Any questions? People want to ask us any questions? Who's in, by the way? Any lurkers in there? Any lurkers? Rick, are you lurking in there? I know Rick
JD says your
sometimes.
videos are the best because you make them with your dialogue.
Is that you?
I don't know.
Is that what you're calling Michelle? My dialogue? She thinks she's my dialogue. Thank you, JD. It's kind of you. But a few people have said they still enjoy what we're doing, so we're going to carry on doing it, regardless of whether we enjoy it or not. We're going to carry on.
No, but the thing is, we always enjoy it. It's whether anybody else enjoys it.
Yeah,
this is the thing, isn't it? We don't do it if we don't enjoy it.
You've seen I've been doing a bit of Steve's Kitchen, a bit of cooking stuff, and to be honest, I'm sort of enjoying it, but I'm not ready for it, guys. I'm sorry, I'm just not ready for doing all the cooking. We really are missing traveling to a degree that I think we're ready to get on and do something a little bit more exciting. So anyway, any lurkers in? I want to know if anybody's in there that hasn't said hello, and none of you have hit the thumbs up like I demanded you to do.
Come on, you've got to hit the thumbs up for me. See if anybody's going to hit that. It's not moving.
Do you know, it's the little thumbs up thing next to the video somewhere. I'll do it for you. Where is it? Where the bloody hell is it? Thumbs up. Come on. I haven't got one, Michelle. Have you got one on yours?
No.
I can't thumb up my own video.
I've got thumbs down. I can dislike it.
Okay. Thumb it down. Why not?
Oh, somebody did it. Somebody did it. Who did it?
Thank you, Lurker.
They're not going to say. It's getting better. No,
leather's too much. It's starting to sound like a leather. It's starting to taste a bit like a leather cod piece now. Does it say that on there? Does it say cod piece?
No, it doesn't. No.
Doesn't?
No.
Could you write to them and give them a new description? I'm going to call it sort of trodden on Black Forest Gatto leather cod piece.
Okay, yeah, that'll probably go down well.
And that needs.
I'm sure they'll have you as their next writer for their next year's wine.
That needs adding to it. And then tomorrow, all of those flavours will mellow down to the beautiful leather that they want me to, and the full-on Black Forest Gatto. It smells, but this has got a lot of potential. I think this one's going to get really good.
Better,
yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, 11 watching. We need 11 thumbs up.
We've got 8 now. Come on. So Chris
said,
would you ever go back to France? You've only got 6. I've got 8.
Chris, what are you like? Chris must be inside my head. Chris, I miss France like I've been missing France for a little while now, and it's definitely strong
on the list
list.
At one stage for the next place to go, wasn't it?
Was virtually because we were going to go cycling in France, but we decided. yeah, we decided not to go cycling through France at the moment because we haven't got a bike. And it became it still could happen, but it's become so damn difficult. France,
it might be a bit cold.
And it will be cold.
And
France
rainy.
is very high on our list of places to go, and I don't say this like flippantly. I'm not saying, when you say to me, do you want to go to America? And I say yes, indeed. It's not flippant. I don't mean like, if you said to me, do you want to go to Democratic Republic of Congo, I would go, well, I don't know. not really. I'm not that bothered. Unless I was sort of digging out black diamonds, or what do they call those, black market diamonds, rubies, DCR, whatever they dig anyway, whatever stones they dig out of. But no, I'm not overly bothered about some places. But France, yes, miss France dearly.
I'm just laughing at Jill. She says, "Oh wait, I have access to another channel. Go into thumbs up." And JD says, "If I thumbs up again, it may take away the one I accumulated."
It doesn't matter.
I don't think you.
I don't mind if you thumb up and it takes it away. It doesn't matter. But it's the
interaction.
No, it's not the interaction. It's the thought that counts.
The thought.
So if you hit it twice,
you can't.
I think you can. I think if you hit it a second time, it does go.
Oh, 9 now.
But it's the thought that counts.
Absolutely.
So even if you hit it, like if all 9 of you hit it again, it goes down to 0, that still means a lot to me. It doesn't mean so much to Michelle. She gets a little bit.
Yeah, well done, Jill. It did go up to 9 and now it's gone down to 8. So who actually hit it again?
See? They're all doing it. See, I told you.
See? Now when you said you wouldn't
hang on,
mind,
9. No, hang on. 9 plus, we've gone down 2 or
1.
3.
No,
Mine's on 7. So
Mine's on
that's
8.
11. Mine's on 7. It went down to 7. So that's
JD said I tried it and took it away and he added it back.
Technically, that's an extra thumbs up. I count that as one more thumbs up. So we're up to 11, even though mine says 7 at the moment.
Mine says 8. You must be watching something different.
This fella's not doing that well.
Chris says, I've been to France about 6 times and always miss it too. Yes, we do love France.
We lived there, Chris, and we lived there for a number of years. That makes it a kind of special part of our life. There's a few countries we've lived in over the years, and they all mean quite a lot to us. Yeah, France is a place that's high up on the list, but then Europe in general is quite high on our list of places to visit again, as is everyone.
Just hitting it at the right time, isn't it? Weather-wise, whether it's too busy, right time to go.
Yeah, what she said. What she said.
What I said.
I'm struggling with this wine. It's a little bit of a. Let me just
Oh, we're back up to 9.
Let me just pop this wine here. I'll drink it a little bit later on, but I want to try it through the aerator. So, okay, we've got the aerator.
JD says, okay, this is what you said. Fix it 10 times and re-add it 10 times. Now you have 20. Well done, JD.
Thank you, JD. Even though it's... Okay, so can I show this? Let me just raise this glass up a little bit so you can see it. No, it's all right. I think if I put it there.
I'll tell you what, I can see it.
So what happens if you can... I haven't got the microphone, so you can't hear.
You can't
but
see
watch.
it.
Yeah, you can. It's just the
I'll see the bottom of it. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so... You hear that? You hear that?
Yeah.
That was, and look, it's got bubbles. So what happened there is there are, do you put an affiliate link in yet, Michelle, before I sell this?
I did, I put one up further on.
This is like, what's that selling channel? QC, what's the channel?
Oh yeah.
QVC. Okay, this is QVC. So it's got, if you can see now, some little dark streaks going through that's where it's kind of forced wine out and sucked air back in. So it hasn't just gone straight through. It's actually, okay, can you see those red veins in there now? So what's happened is it's forced the wine up into those veins and back down and sucked air back in. So effectively aerating or oxygenating the wine. And now,
And JD is asking, is it only designed for red wine?
no, it's for any wine, white wine as well. You wouldn't see the red lines though, JD. It's just a guess. But no, it's basically to aerate or oxygenate and try to neutralize the nitrates, which is they add nitrates into wine to preserve them, and they're not natural. And if you were in a beautiful country like Italy or even parts of France where you get locally produced wines, they don't put the sulfites into them. You can have them and they're delicious and they don't give you a thick head. But
which is what Jill is asking. It says, if this gets rid of the sulfates, wonder if it would help people that get sulfate headaches like me.
Jill, if you get sulfate headaches, you can actually, I'll show you, just Michelle's going to grab it for me. You can actually add a little bit of, I want to say bleach. It isn't bleach, it's peroxide.
What you put on your hair,
It's
is
a
it?
very low percentage. I'm like, this is like QVC. Let's talk about it in a minute. Stay there, Jill. Don't go away. All right. Let's see if this has changed.
Is it any better?
Yeah, it's a little smoother. It's a little smoother. Now, whether or not if I kept pouring that through, it would eventually, but it's a little smoother. But the other thing you can do is you can often buy these in wine shops and they're ridiculously expensive because you're just getting like a tiny bit of peroxide, which is a sort of chloride peroxide. And this is actually from a wine producer. Now, what that does, if you take this peroxide and you can get, I think it's 3%. Don't listen to me. Don't go out and buy peroxide. Don't start
Do
putting
your research.
Yeah, don't start putting hair colouring in your wine.
Research peroxide in wine.
You can take a drop of this, just a drop.
So he's proving it is
Okay.
what he's talking about.
Just a drop into the wine. And what happens is the peroxide reacts with the potassium nitrite. It's a nitrite, not a nitrate. Little swirl, and that will react with the nitrates in the wine, and they will
Nitrates or
evaporate. Sulfites. Sorry, sulfites.
He's on his saltpeter.
Sorry, it's very similar though. They're much the same, but sulfites and nitrites are very similar. So it reacts with the sulfites in the wine, and they say that by using this, it will actually stop you getting the headaches. Now, if you really don't want to get a headache when drinking red wines, is what you do is you take your glass, you pop it in a suitcase, and you fly to Italy, and then you get just above Venice in a little area called Friulano, and you drive up into the mountains and you drink all the beautiful artisan red wines. You drink them until you can barely stand up. Who asked about this?
Jill.
You drink them until you can barely stand up, and you think to yourself, you say, well, this is what you think to yourself. You get back home to your hotel or wherever it is you're staying with your glass, and you say, Michelle, I'm going to be absolute crap tomorrow because I've drunk. You have to say Michelle. I think that's the given.
Yeah.
Michelle, tomorrow I'm going to be really wrecked because I'm so sorry. I've drunk so much red wine and I'm going to have such a bad head tomorrow. So forgive me before it even happens. And you wake up the next morning, fresh as a daisy, because there's no preservatives and no sulfates in the wines in those regions because they don't send them overseas. You can drink them until the bottoms of your legs are trickling with red wine. And you'll wake up the morning fresh as a daisy.
You did.
Did I?
You did.
Thank you. So you can. They're the two solutions you have. All right. So let's just try this. Got a little bit of bleach in this now. So I'll tell you if it tastes like something that you've just wrung out in the swimming pool. Oh. No, it tastes much the same as before that I put it through the. But they do say this will actually help you get rid of those headaches.
Yes, Google it, Jill. Google it.
But I can't guarantee it, and I'm not. Although we can probably put an affiliate link in, and then I can make about half a penny. Half a penny. Get down the local wine shop, give it a try. It's worth doing. It is basically food grade, and when they say food grade, they mean it hasn't been sort of like drained through a sort of beggar's sock. But basically, food grade. Is that a bit inappropriate saying beggar's sock?
Yeah.
Okay. What sock can I use?
So you don't wear socks.
Okay. Food grade. So very, very clean and not adulterated peroxide. Now you can actually buy food grade peroxide from chemists as well, so you can get like big bottles of this. This one costs about $6, but you can get big bottles that that make about 500 of these for a fraction of the cost. So do your research. And for me, I'll be honest, I haven't found them to be that great. So I got it to experiment with, and I've not bothered using it. If you were nearby, Jill, I'd give it to you, and you could, or I'd send it to you.
2 drops that are left, because you probably only get about 5 drops in it.
No, there's a fair bit in there. I think that would do. I think you use about 3 or 5 drops in a bottle, or or just 1 drop in a glass.
Chris says organic wines usually have less sulfites.
They do and they don't, Chris. If they're an organic wine and they are exported overseas, they always have to have certain additives put into them to allow them to travel. And it's those additives, those stabilizers they use that give you the headache. So even if the grape is organically grown, you're still going to get a thick head from them because of the chemicals they use in order to. But they might use, for instance, natural sulfites from celery or something like that, but they can still have similar effects.
So Jill said, just check the cupboard. I have 16 ounces of food grade hydrogen peroxide. Time to go to the package store. Oh, it's early when they open.
It has to be, I think, who said that?
Jill.
Look, don't do it. It has to be about 3%. Now, you're talking to a guy who's been drinking wine, so don't take this as sort of medical advice. It has to be a very low percentage. You're talking, and when I say 3%, you would calculate, and you're not going to buy pure. I mean, even hydrogen peroxide sold is barely usually more than 10% at the most. So if you could find a food grade hydrogen peroxide, and I'm giving stupid advice here. Look.
Google it.
No, I'm going to give the advice anyway.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm just going to say, Jill, it's still a little bit early. You're being prepared.
Don't do this. Here's what you shouldn't do. Because you've got 10%, you can buy 10% food grade hydrogen peroxide. You would have to calculate if you were to add that to distilled water, and it has to be distilled water because, again, it has to be super clean through a tramp sock. You remember what I said before? No. Super clean. So distilled water, and you would add by ratio. I'm not going to do the maths.
Well, Georgia says just checked. It is 3%.
Yeah.
So is that the food grade hydrogen peroxide you've got in the cupboard?
Oh, it is 3%.
Is that the one she's talking about?
Yeah. Well, if it's 3%, you can go straight. Just what you need to do is get a little pipette and just drop 1 drip. No.
What?
Well, I don't want people doing crap that I'm giving them. You're getting advice from someone that's drinking wine at the moment. Don't do that.
Say, you don't just get a little pipette.
Hang on.
And
I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a wine expert. I know nothing about. I even didn't get sulfites and nitrites, but in fact they're much the same.
The ingredients: deionized water, 3% food grade hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, basically, you when you have sulfites in any liquid, it's by adding a peroxide in with it, they react with each other, causing hydrogen, which then oxidizes and comes out. I think it's hydrogen, might be oxygen, it could be, but it basically the chemical reaction is by just swirling it around. You don't need to get a blender in there or a stick blender. It's just a little swirl around. It will react with a glass of wine. When I talk about a glass of wine, also I'm talking about milliliters of wine, and that wasn't a pause in the sound on the thing, but I'm not sure. A glass of wine, all right? God.
JD says they say when you get a hair of a dog feeling in the morning, go back to start it again, and it goes away. And Jill says, I can do that. Well,
actually, this is tasting nicer.
Is it?
Yeah, it's tasting nicer. It's already lost some of its tanning, but I think that's actually the QVC that I used. So, and in case any of you watch Blackadder, it comes in a lovely little pouch. So you can actually, this comes in a little pouch, pop it into. There you go. It's very, very cool. Enough said.
There you go.
So any questions, anything else we want to talk about, Michelle, because we are banging on. It does have a little filter, and actually sometimes these filters are silver plated. So that is another way the actual silver has a reaction with the sulfites as well. So you can actually, you'll see other things that are like silver coated wands that you can put through, because silver itself will react with sulfites and neutralize the sulfites. So that's another way of doing it. But don't pay a lot of money for this rubbish. It's not worth it. Just put up with the headaches.
JD says, why does wine taste stronger at bottom? You said any questions? I found a question.
JD, it doesn't.
Okay, JD's got another question.
It doesn't taste stronger at the bottom, JD. It's the same all the way through, mate. Unless you're getting down, you're not talking about like it's getting a bit silty, because that might be if the wine's got a little bit of sediment in the bottom. But no, the reason it tastes stronger at the bottom is because you've drunk most of the wine, and now you're actually sozzled, and your body's going, no more wine, and basically you are over drinking.
Name 3 countries you'd like to live in if given the chance.
3 countries I'd like to live in. Given the chance sounds a little bit desperate. But 3 countries I'd like to live in would be France. Now, obviously, I'm not going to include Australia, because Australia is a country we can live in comfortably. So I'm not going to include it, but it's a given. But I'm giving you 3 countries that I would like to live in. France is always there. I have to say, Germany is always there for me. And the third one, I mean, straight away, I've got places that would be in my top list. Can I give you maybe a top 5? Because it's almost like when it's like I've just been awarded an Oscar, and I'm thanking everybody, and I've forgotten to thank half the people. But there's a few places. So I'd like to live in the USA. I'd like to live in France. I'd like to live in Germany. And the reason those 3 countries appeal to me is because I love the food culture in all 3 of them. I love the people in all 3 of them. Now, if I was pushed, I'd have to probably include Japan. It's hard because I'm not trying to think of another. I'm trying not to think of a lot. There's too many. I could give you like a list of all the countries I could quite happily live in, but then that would be even worse, because it might not include some countries, and there's lots that spring to mind. But for example, the ones that jump to mind immediately are France and Germany and America. America, because I think America has got so much of what fits with our psyche and our way of life, and we feel comfortable in America because I guess also I grew up around a lot of Americans, so for me it's kind of like a very comfortable way of thinking. I grew up experiencing a lot of American culture, so it feels comfortable to me, and that also equals with France and Germany. So there's no other reason than those countries included, not because they're particularly great countries, not because they're wonderful places to be, but they feel good for me.
JD said, so is it the people?
It's always the people.
We always say about travelling, don't we?
What would your three countries be?
Well, I was France, America. I don't have the affinity with Germany.
Yeah, you don't have the Germany. So no. France and America would be yours. Do you have any others?
I mean, there are others.
I mean, there's Australia's a given.
Yeah.
Japan, for me, would be a place I could comfortably live, but not forever.
No, I would like to maybe live in China for a while.
Yeah, China is one that's been swimming around my head as well. Now, China mainly because, again, a little bit like America, it's so vast and there are so many cultural differences. I think people don't realise that China is not one country. It is, although, the Chinese government may like to think it's one. No, I think that's unfair. That's a westernized media sort of restraint that we've been, the Chinese government think this, but it's culturally so different and so diverse from Shanghai to Shenzhen to Kunming to Lijiang to any parts there's so many different languages, historical cultures in that country. So that's another place that you could almost spend 5-6 years touring around, and you would never get bored. So it would be up there.
Yeah.
But the only reason I probably haven't picked, for example, some of the South American countries, is because we've not been there.
Yeah.
And I've got a feeling some of those, like maybe Argentina and Chile.
I like them, but I don't know whether I like them.
Yeah, I've got a feeling some of those may be places that we would get a buzz out of. And even Mexico's up there.
Mexico.
and many parts of Southeast Asia. So no, can't. Sorry, man. That isn't a good answer. That isn't a good answer. If my arm was forced and I had to choose one place, at the moment, it would probably be France, because we've lived there before. Now, having said that, a lot of people say, "Well, you've lived in a lot of places, and every one of those places I like to go back to." But France is the one place that I feel culturally very comfortable with, and I feel a very kinship with the culture and the style of the way they live their lives. And the joie de vivre of France is sort of, but I'd need to get better. My French would need to get better. It's very poor and very rusty. And also, the only reason that last sentence isn't Germany is because Germany can be bloody cold. And apart from that, if Germany
would have to be the right place,
if Germany was down by sort of the south of Italy, it would be number one for sure for me. Because anyway, questions. Next question.
Jill says a certain region of France, ?
There's a few regions of France that I really love.
Not too far north because it's too cold.
I wouldn't live up in the north. I wouldn't live up in Normandy or Brittany or anywhere like that, because to me it can be very grim. It can be grim up north, and it's just not a part of the world that to me that gives me the buzz. I like to get down towards the southern part of France, central southern part. We always used to say south of the Périgord. So when the weather gets a little warmer and the culture becomes a bit more Latin.
I mean, when we lived in France, we were more mid.
Yeah. So anywhere south of France is. Although I love the north of France, and actually I could quite happily live in Paris. Anyway, this is just rubbish about Michelle and I. And sorry, JD, I'm not saying it's rubbish, but who wants to know that nonsense? We got enough trouble. Oh, I'm going to have to go. I'm getting tired. All right. So
Good love, hi there.
Gordon, don't come in when I'm just getting
No, I'm
tired.
just getting up now and Ted's coming to say goodbye. Hello.
Gordon, good morning, mate. I'll do another 10 minutes. You can ask me a few questions.
I've got to sit down again now.
Would you get me, just from that box, will you get me another French glass?
Another French glass.
I want to end on a little bit more slow gin. That was delicious. Absolutely delicious. Gordon, how are you, mate? So we've just been talking. You'll have to go back and watch from the beginning if you get a chance. And I'll stay on the chat for an hour or two. And if anyone's got any comments they want to ask, I'm going to have a little bit more of this beautiful German 15-year-old at least Schleien slow gin.
Be good.
Yeah. Are we probably no? That yawn meant it's time for me to get some sleep.
So Gunnar said, was in Morpeth buying Pink Floyd vinyl 50-year-old?
Ah, I've got a bit of Pink Floyd vinyl 50-year-old. No, not 50-year-old. God, I'm not that old. Pink Floyd weren't around 50 years ago, you melon. Were they? Oh, tell me they weren't, Gordon.
Mandy of Mary Mac says, hi, just noticed that you're on.
Mandy, good day. How are you? That's Rick's buddy, Mandy. Sorry, I don't know Rick's
says, I'm
buddy,
good,
Mandy.
cheers, and yes, they were.
They weren't, Guna. They weren't around 50 years ago. Tell me they weren't.
Oh, I've got to check.
Oh, that can't be possible. 30 years ago.
No,
35.
more than that, probably.
Look, I was a kid when
Pink Floyd are an English rock band formed in London in 1965.
65? Oh, well, that's
Wow.
they must have done some real crap in 65, Gordon. What did you buy? What were they doing in 65? It'd be like listening to the Scorpions. When I talk about the Scorpions, I'm talking about Status Quo before they changed their name. What did they do in 1965? I wasn't even born. Dear me.
JD says you have to tell us some of your best music singers and groups.
All right. Well, I've recently been looking at some of my old albums, and when I was a young man, I was a big fan of Status Quo, and I was a big fan of Jilted John and the Stranglers and a lot of punk groups that many of you won't have heard of because I was a kind of punk child from the punk. So the Ramones and golly. Don't start me singing Jilted John songs. I've never been very lucky with girls.
The Goonlove says, Uma Gooma album. Does that mean anything to you?
No, Goonlove must be really... Gordon must be bloody really ancient if you remember.
Dark Side of the Moon and Metal
Dark
Fantastic
Dark Side of the Moon's is in the 70s. Pretty sure. Do Google Dark Side of the Moon for me, Michelle. I think that was like... I'm going to say Dark Side of the Moon was 76, 78. So that's... And I thought that was the first thing they ever did, to be honest. Brick in the...
It does say 50th anniversary.
Dark Side of the Moon.
73.
73. That was a baby. Gordon, you must be... What are you doing buying that vinyl? Mind you, I've got some Fats Wallet. I've got some Fats Domino and...
He's 56, apparently. 1976. Well, no, according to my Google, it says 1973, Gordon. It was the eighth studio album.
You saw Dark Side of the Moon was 73.
Released on the 1st of March 1973. Recorded the 31st of May.
I haven't got that album, by the way. I wasn't old enough. I wasn't old enough to even know what a pound was in those days. Music is I was definitely a sort of kid of the late 70s, early 80s. So that's my era of music. So I went all the way through the punk to the new age, new romantics, modern romantics, Flock of Seagulls, all that sort of stuff. Duran Duran, Queen,
So Goonlove says he's 56, and Jules says I beat you by 3 years. Lol.
Goonlove, if you're 56, you
Born
weren't.
in 1966.
Yeah, well then you why are you buying Pink Floyd from 1960?
JD, you never liked the top 40 songs on the radio. We always used to listen to the top 40.
Always used. I used to record the
What
top
was I saying?
40 on cassette. You know, hang on. I used to record the top 40 on cassette.
Not quite.
No.
You have to always press the
I
button.
used to love the top 40. Hello, pop pickers. G'day, pop pickers. Today's number up two in 18th place. It's Catchy-Goo-Goo with Too Shy Shy. Too shy, 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 shy. So that sort of, probably dates me a little bit. But
Gulliam says, I love my records, have hundreds. Well, you have lots of records and they're all pristine, aren't they? They've been played once.
you know what I used to buy my records because I was such a weird kid. I'd buy the records, I'd put them onto my record deck, and I'd play them once and record them onto what was at the time metal or chrome tapes, like C90s, C60s. I can't remember what they were. And I used to record them onto tapes, and then I would only listen to them on the tapes because I would put them back into the sleeves and keep them in pristine condition. So I've got a lot of albums that are like only played once.
Best way, Steve. JD says the Knack, My Sharona.
Yeah.
Bananarama, Cruel Summer.
No, Bananarama was later, and that was girls' stuff. Who said Bananarama? Block that person. JD. But time him out.
Well, no, but then this is it. I did like you and tape them on tape.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if Bananarama on there. I'd cut that out. I'd have to get the tape, and I said, right, how long was that song? It was about 38 inches long. I had to cut off Bananarama, stick it back, bit of tape around the middle, sorted, and that was it. And we go straight from number 26 to number 25, and Bananarama didn't have to feature.
Goonlove says your albums will be fortunes if they're mint.
They're mint.
They're mint.
I've got every album that Status Quo ever made in mint, from Mark Kelly's Greasy Teaspoon Cafe.
They're well-travelled albums.
They've been all around the world. They've been literally all around the globe at least a couple of times. So they're probably just crumbs. I've also got some beautiful 78s.
78s, yes.
The old Bakelite record 78s that I used to collect. Some really cool old, I don't know if any of the Americans are in, and you can remember the old song Slippery Elm. I can't remember who sang it now, but it's a beautiful song, Slippery Elm song. Cool. And I had an old Fats Waller album that I picked up one day to show my friend. I sort of picked it up like I said, look at this. This is like from the 1930s or something. And I went like that, and it just snapped. It just broke off like a biscuit because they were very brittle. So a lot of them didn't last. And I was really annoyed with myself because I broke this record. So it was, some of those old 78s and quite valuable. Well, when I say they're quite valuable, if you've kept a whole box of them in mint condition all the way through your life to this day, you've probably got about 30 quid's worth of records. Let's be honest. Because while you might have paid sort of like £7, well, Gordon's in the UK, right? £7.50 for that record back in the 1970s. It's probably worth about £8.65 now. So not a good investment. And how much did you pay for that 1960 album you just bought?
He said you'll be surprised, Steve.
I know. I found a comic I've got a beautiful, I found a comic just a couple of weeks ago that was a Marvel comic, and it was a, I want to say like the Four. Who are the Four in the Marvel?
Don't look at me.
Magnificent Four.
It's the Magnificent Seven, isn't it?
Anyway, it was a Marvel comic because I've got a whole load of DC and Marvel comics as well, and I found one in my collection that just sold in similar condition to mine for over $3,000, just under $3,000 US. So there you go.
And so you popped it back in the box.
Put it back in the box and thought, oh, well,
deal with that another day.
Kids can deal with that. Yeah, so it was a
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic
apparently.
Four, I think. Yeah,
Thank you, Jill.
it was quite surprising because I got loads of old Spider-Man and Superman, and they're worth nothing. But this really bizarre little, it must be a fairly rare one or something cool. And it's
Apparently, Goon Love says if you have Dark Side of the Moon with a solid blue triangle, it is fortunes.
what is a fortune? Because I might have it. Goon Love. What is a fortune? When you say, because this is the problem, somebody will say, you know that Beano that I bought, that Dandy and Beano that I've got from 1974 that that you've kept, and you sort of think, well, that cost £1, and you go and look it up on eBay, and it's sold for £1.75. You think, so you tell me.
Bruno says, I have a Dark Side of the Moon original with posters and stickers, very sought after.
I've got a Dark Side of the Moon as well, good enough. I've got a Dark Side of the Moon, but I can't remember which end. But I can tell you one thing, it'll be in mint condition. I've also got a few picture discs, which are, some full LP picture discs and some smaller. I got the Stray Cat Strut, the song Stray Cat Strut by the Stray Cats on a picture disc. I've got...
JD says a fortune is $50, whereas Goon Love says from $500 to £1,500.
All right. Well...
What about Deep Purple, says JD?
Don't think I've got any Deep Purple, unless I've got a few singles, but yeah. No, I like Deep Purple. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? First thing you ever learn to play on guitar is Smoke on the Water. First everybody learns to play Smoke on the Water. First thing they ever do when they get a guitar, or electric guitar. So yeah, Deep Purple, gotta love that.
So Jill says, I see $2,000 for the blue triangle on a quick search.
Mine's packed away now. I don't know. It's packed back in the stores somewhere.
Gula says, what record deck have you got, Steve?
I've got a Technics. I had to buy a new record deck, Gordon, because basically, unless you've got a record deck, you can't play them, right? So several years ago, I had to buy a new record deck, and I think I got rid of it. So I'm going to have to buy another. I can't listen to any of them. I haven't got anything to play it on. But if I have still got it, if it's still in the store somewhere, then it's a Technic TK69EFGBC++.
Yeah.
I made that up.
JD says, can you play the guitar?
I got quite a few guitars, JD. Yeah, I do play guitar, but not well. But I miss when I travel. One of the things I miss more than anything else are my guitars and my ukuleles, and I've got some really nice guitars. If anyone's into guitars, I have got a beautiful butterscotch, US butterscotch Fender Telecaster. It's a replica, but it's a beautiful US made Telecaster and butterscotch, and I've got a signature John Lennon guitar, which is again, it's not an actually signed. It's a signature guitar. And I've got a few, and I've got a little travel guitar that I used to travel with, which is a baby Taylor, which is a small Taylor made, which is a beautiful guitar. Actually, last week dropped.
Yes,
I dropped it. I was not happy last week. I dropped it twice.
Yeah, they dropped it and then you dropped it again, didn't you?
Don't remind me.
But you reminded yourself.
But, the guitar's to be used. You can't have a guitar and not
quick.
use it. Michelle's put it away now, won't let me touch it because I dropped it. It was beautiful condition. But it's a travel guitar. It's meant to. And I've got a few other guitars. I've got a few other nice guitars. And if you know guitars, you'll know from what I've said that I've got nice guitars. I've also got a little Martin backpacker, which I used to travel with. But we're not traveling with musical instruments now because it's just not worth it. So I've been traveling Michelle and I have been traveling. She came with me. I can't get rid of her.
It's what we're ticket.
Michelle and I have been travelling for 8 years, and I've tried on and off to take a musical instrument because I just like to be able to play a musical instrument occasionally when I'm travelling, because it's sort of like a therapy. But yeah, ukuleles and guitars and didgeridoos. So any other questions before we get off? It's good. Goonlove stopped me from leaving.
He did.
Kept me up a bit later. No food tonight, Goonlove. Just a little bit of alcohol-free slow gin and a bottle of Australian Malbec, which is going to be nicer tomorrow. Cheers, me dear.
Yeah.
And we had a little happy birthday, and I think possibly Byron's gone to bed now, but happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I think he had to go to his birthday party. It was his birthday party.
I can have a birthday party. His birthday's Wednesday.
But it's a weekend, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
So he did say
Happy
earlier.
birthday, dear Byron.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Regardless, I'll sing to him. He's a lovely guy. Any questions before Michelle and I hit the sack?
Which are some of your favourite years and why?
Pardon me?
Which are some of your favourite years and why? I think we're talking about music there.
Years?
Yeah.
Who said that?
JD.
JD, can you just say years of what? Years of my life, years of music, years of, yeah, just clarify that and I will answer it.
100,000.
Best years of your life. The best years of my life, JD, are 2023 and 24. So this year and next year are going to be the best years of my life. And looking back, they've all been reasonably good.
Don't look back too much. Look forward.
Don't look back. I mean, JD, I'm not one for dwelling on the past, and I've got a dreadful memory. Although some people think I've got quite a granular memory, I can remember stupid little things from all over the place. But I do tend to forget about the past pretty much after it's happened. So I don't live in the past. I think the best years are still to come. And if I had any, no, every sort of retrospective memory of places we've lived in the past have been good. But this year is going to be the best year, for sure. It's just going to be the best year. Absolutely. And next year is going to be even better. I'm being honest with you. I'm not being flippant. I'm being honest. It does seem like, this year is the year that we're going to get into shape. We're going to lose some of our weight, which is always a nice thing to do, isn't it, Michelle? That's Phil. You've lost quite a bit of weight, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing well. We'll do it together.
Attention to Michelle, but but we're gonna lose at least again what we've already lost, and we're gonna actually try and do that while we're traveling, which is a tough thing to do.
Well, that's why we decided to do what we're doing now, so that we can then continue to do
and that's not a hardship.
It's
That's
not
no
hard.
hardship.
No, it's not hard.
And we're enjoying food as it is. We've just had some. I bought, by the way, if any of you are interested, I bought some beautiful grass-fed Angus beef recently from a local butcher, and I bought it last month, and I kept it in the package in the fridge for over a month, and just aged it. And I can tell you, if you ever want to give that a try, you buy some from a decent butcher, buy some nice beef. You can age it in the fridge, even open. The package can be opened. It's not a problem, and you can age it for at least 2 or 3 months, and that beef will the proteins will break down, the flavors will get better. So we've been eating really good food.
Delicious.
We've been eating. We're not beating ourselves up on what we're eating. Had some Easter eggs. Happy Easter for those of you that do Happy Easter. I always find it a bit odd when people say Happy Easter. It's not like Christmas, is it?
No.
I don't know what's happy about Easter. It's kind of like meant to be a time of fasting and remorse, I thought, and reflective.
Well, no, because there's the rejoicing as well, isn't there? So I don't
Yeah, but I don't know.
I didn't grow up saying Happy Easter.
Excuse me, wasn't Jesus die on Good Friday?
Good Friday.
Yeah, it's not like Happy Easter, and you think, well, it's not that happy, is it? I mean, it's like somebody just died. Like, Happy Easter. I always find that very odd. It's like, yeah. Is it just me?
I don't know.
All right.
We're going now.
We're going to go before I talk any more rubbish.
Yes.
Before I get
I'll come back again now.
drunker.
Nobody else coming.
All right. If anybody is lurking who knows us well, Rick, if you bloody well come in now and say hello,
I'm going.
I'm going anyway. So, because Gordon's kept me an extra 20 minutes or so. Love you all. Be good. And Michelle will see you. We are, as I say, there's a video going up tomorrow. And it's the first in a series.
Tomorrow night.
It isn't where we are.
No.
And if you ask me in the video, I'm not answering. Pretend we're there. Love you.
It's a nice one.
It's a good video. Really good. Really, well, the series is kind of cool. And you'll be surprised where we are. And
to look out for
many of you will be quite interested in it. And there's another series that I'm working on now, which is also a year or two old, that I found in my archives. And that's going up. And I also won't tell them about that. So just, take it as it comes. Love you all. Be good. See you later.
Bye.